Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Purple Coloured Glasses. I'll be going through my tips for round 9 and how I think Freo will go against Gold Coast this week. So let's get started. First up, we've got Collingwood against the Bulldogs. I'm going a bit of an upset in this one and I'm going for the Pies. The Dogs haven't been that convincing this year, sort of going win-loss, win-loss. They lost last week, so you can make a case they'll continue that pattern and win this week. I think they're still a bit concerning in terms of just player outs, some of their key position players. Sounds like Keith is coming back in, which is great for them. Bontempelli's back after a week where he was managed. Still think he's a bit banged up, and I think Norton's banged up a bit. I think the Collingwood defenders got a bit of a cook after letting Lynch run riot on them. And I think their midfield, while they're being talked about as being a young rebuilding team, they've still got guys like Taylor Adams, Pendlebury, even though he's been playing down back a bit. And they don't lose a lot with Grundy being out. I think they've been covering the ruck position. So I'll be going for the Pies in this one. And I can't actually tip the margin in this one. Looks like the margin's on the Saturday game. Not sure if it's like that for everyone else. But I think it'll be relatively close. Maybe 10, 15 points. Hawks against Tigers on Saturday. So I got flogged a little bit for thinking the Tigers will finish in the top 4, and they're going on a bit of a winning streak and they're starting to get their players back, so you never know. They've got an opponent they'll be fancied against in the Hawks here. I'll be tipping the Tigers by about, let's go, 22 points. I think they should easily account for Hawthorn. But there's been quite a few games this year where Richmond look like they've had it in the bag at three-quarter time and let it slip, and Hawks have been a bit like hit and miss this year. They don't play every quarter of every game, so could be a bit of a surprise packet and come out. But yeah, it looks like they've hit a bit of a flat spot. Hawthorn. I think they've now lost 5 out of their last 6. Their last 5, the only game they've won was that one against Geelong in a bit of an upset. So yeah, Hawks will be trying to turn around, but I think they've hit a bit of a flat spot for a bit. Really should have won last week against the Bombers, though, saying that. But, yeah, the Bombers aren't a great side anyway, so even if they won, I'd still be tipping the Tigers. Moving on to North against Port Adelaide, down in Blundstone Arena, so Tassie. I think the only thing Tassie does is means this margin isn't as big as it could be. I'll be tipping Port Adelaide, and that'll mean Port's won 4 in a row. And, you know, talk about getting their season back on track. So, yep, interesting for Port. See how they go over the next couple of weeks in terms of where they're sitting on the win-loss ledger. A very hard game to tip next, St Kilda against Geelong. I feel like there's a bit of psychology going on here where I've tipped against Cats so many times this year, and they've got up. So, last week being the main one. So I'll be going with the Cats in this one, but I think it has the potential to be a close game. Geelong seemed to feast on St Kilda a little bit. I think last year I watched this game and Saints dominated the first quarter and kicked something like 1 goal, 6 or 7 or something like that. Had lots of really gettable opportunities and could have put a bit of a margin on. And then, yeah, the Cats just clicked in and smacked them. So I think they'll have some opportunities in this game. It's whether they can make the most of it, and they haven't been great shots for goal so far this year. Sydney against the Bombers, the Saturday night game. I'll be going for Sydney in this one. I still don't really rate the Bombers if you've been listening to the channel. Hawthorn really let them back into the game. It was a bit of a free throw at the stumps. Sydney have lost 2 in a row at the SCG. I just don't see them losing 3 in a row. So I'll be tipping them to bounce back and get over the Bombers in this one. Then the next game on Saturday, we've got Adelaide against Brisbane. I think Brisbane get the job done not as comfortably as you might think. McStay and Danaher being out is a bit of a blow to them. I'm not sure if they're bringing Hipwood in from his ACL. But even if he does come back, he'll be a bit underdone. And Adelaide have some decent key defenders. We saw how they the performance they put on against the Western Bulldogs when it was really just Aaron Norton and no one else. So it could be a bit of a hard day for Brisbane, but I think in terms of weight of numbers, they'll get enough entries, they'll win enough possession that they'll win this game. But I don't think it'll be as comfortable as some people are making it out to be. Now, the potential danger game. Sunday morning, or early Sunday afternoon over on the East Coast. Fremantle travel to Metricon Stadium to play Gold Coast. The Will Brodie Sam Collins Cup, some might say. Or Lockie Weller. There's been a few trades between these two clubs over the recent years, considering they haven't been in the comp that long, Gold Coast, the sort of players who have gone between the two clubs. Freo are absolutely flying. We've lost our last 3 games at Metricon Stadium against Gold Coast. We're playing a lot better than we were in those years where we lost those games. Gold Coast, they're playing better than they have been last year. Their win-loss is very similar. They're really missing Ben King. You can see what they're trying to do with Casbolt down there. And I think if you just had a bit of a better quality player, and maybe the output this year wouldn't even be as good with Ben King, but you're really getting set up for the future. You're looking at what Max is doing at St Kilda, and I think Ben was in front of him by a year of development because Max had an ACL when he came into the Saints. So you can see what they were trying to do with Ben King. He probably does outperform Casbolt. It's probably a bit harsh on King to say that, but Casbolt's been playing alright this year. But our key defenders have been dominant. Like, you look at that Carlton game, really blanketed them. Then since then, those Carlton key forwards have had a field day, and the same thing with Hawkins and Cameron. So really, Chol and Casbolt going to get on top of us here? Unlikely. I think it may just be getting a decent score on the board. Rory Lobb comes back in, which is great. But I was hearing Sonny Walters was out with health and safety protocols. Sam Switkowski's out with a concussion. So Frederick comes back in, which is great. Lobb comes back in. So you're probably dropping Amos. I think Tracy's just that bigger body. Longmuir's a bit coy about whether they play 3 talls. I don't think they'll play 3 talls down at the Gold Coast. I think they much prefer the smalls around them. So guys like Collier come back. So it'll be an interesting one because I think Driscoll's out as well. So, Akers comes back in. They probably would move Aish to the wing. I think Griffin Logue was named. He was playing well. So there could be quite a few changes this one because 6 went out for the last game. But now an additional 3 players. So Walters, Switkowski and O'Driscoll are out as well. So some of those guys potentially could keep their place that came in. I've got to remember Young and Chapman came back in and they were in the strongest side originally as well. So the extended squads have come out. There's still no Sam Sturt. Things building up in the Waffle still. There's no Waffle games this week. It's a state game bye. WA is playing South Australia. So there's no one to sort of build up in the twos, and maybe they do try 3 talls and just go, you know what, let's just give it a crack, give Amos another game, just to see how it goes because he can't play a game in the Waffle. That's the only thing I'm thinking from a team sort of setup. I think the midfield, the midfield down back will be pretty much the same. I think so. Couple of, Akers will come back in, for example, but like that core group like Brayshaw, Sarong, Mundy, Darcy, Brodie, down back with like Young, Chapman, Pearce, Cox, Luke Ryan. There's a bit of a question mark over, but if Logue comes in, he's been playing quite well. So I think in those areas of the ground we're good. This was a typical banana peel game, and I think Freo fans are still going to be a bit nervous over these types of games, but we should get the job done against Gold Coast. I'm looking forward to it. Back in the Sunday time slot, that was our reward for a Friday night game, and we've had the weird 9-day break. I think it is for the players, so they probably weren't sure what to do with themselves. They could actually go out on the weekend, potentially. Not to any nightclubs, though. Just spend a day or 2 off and just relax a little bit, and hopefully they're recharged mentally and get stuck back into it. And then the last game of the round, 2 games to go. I'd initially tipped Carlton in this game against the Giants, but I'd heard this morning that Leon Cameron stepped down. It's his last game, and I just think it'll be that coach's last game factor, and I'll be tipping the Giants. I'm trying to remember if Giants have actually played yet at Giants Stadium. They've played quite a few away games at Acor, and then I can't remember where Acor is. I think it's a different ground in Sydney, and then a couple at Monaco. So I think this is the first one at Giants Stadium, and actually looking at the win-loss record, Carlton have never won there. According to this, they've played there 5 times and lost every game. And there's no Mackay. Interesting to see how Kerno goes by himself. GWS have some decent key position defenders in Keith and Taylor, so they could keep Kerno quiet, and you're interested to see how that'll sort of changes for a forward line structure when the main guy goes out. You know, the best defenders are suddenly playing on your second tall and things like that. Carlton, I think, have also not won away from home yet this year. They haven't won outside of Melbourne, I think. They went to Gold Coast and they lost. They went to Perth and lost to Freo, and now they're going to the Giants. I don't think they've travelled to play anyone else yet. They've had away games, but they've been in Melbourne. So I'll be going for the Giants in this one, and if they let me down, I'll just be that stupid, jilted lover type where, I just keep going back to the same thing. They keep letting me down, and I just keep going back. Why? That's what I'll be saying to myself if the Giants lose, because they really let me down against the Cats last week. And the final game, once again, the team playing West Coast is $1.01, and that's Melbourne against West Coast. So West Coast just do well to not lose by 50, I think. That's pretty much all I can say. It's full strength Melbourne team effectively. There was rumours that Max Gawn might not be playing and he's got a knee injury, but sounds like he's all good to go. They could rest him, but it's all right when he's not in the ruck. You got Luke Jackson running around, so things could get very ugly here for West Coast, and you'll see who the real fans are at that game. Late on that Sunday afternoon, probably the worst time slot. People want to go to work the next day. You've only won one game all year. Your percentage is rubbish, and you're playing top of the table that hasn't lost a game, and they're just destroying people. So yeah, it's be an ugly one. I'll just look at how many people are in the crowd at sort of quarter time, half time. Those are the fans who are actually dedicated, not the downhill skiers. But enough about West Coast. Those are my tips for the week. Let me know what you think's different. How you think some of the games might go. Let me know what you think your upset of the round will be. I think the Collingwood one's probably not the massive upset, but unfortunately I think the potential upset of the round is Gold Coast over Freo. Hopefully not jinxing it by saying that, but let me know in the comments which game you think it is that could go the way of an upset. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. Catch ya. Bye.